here in, where do I live? In Atlanta, Georgia. I have to really think about that because in the last 12 years we've lived in 12 houses and 12 neighborhoods or something like that. And I want to welcome you to the Extreme Team Google Hangout. We have this Hangout live Wednesday nights, live here at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're watching us on the recording, make sure you come back live next Wednesday and join the excitement, participate in the chat roll. If you're one of the first 250 people here, you can participate and type your questions and meet some of the other team leaders who are moderating the box right now. And I really shouldn't be doing that while I'm on this broadcast here. And we've got a real treat tonight. The name of the broadcast tonight is How to Salvage Your Summer. And we've got a great conversation tonight. You guys really want to grab a pen and paper and take down some notes because we have the man, the myth, and he actually found a strong internet connection for the first time in about 45 days. Of course, I'm talking about the one and only Kristian Hoenicke from Texas. Kristian, how are you tonight, my man?
Hey, Kevin. I'm good. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Yeah, it's so good to have you here. And Kristian, we're going to get into your conversation here tonight, but just to kind of set the table, and we have a couple of announcements here in just a second, everybody, so grab your pen and paper for that as well. But we're going to talk to Kristian tonight about how a year ago he had never even heard of this crazy business called Empower Network. But here as he sits tonight, he's in double six figures and just came back from a month out of the country with his beautiful family, his wife and his 2 children, and 30 days being in Panama, and of course not the Panama City Beach, but Panama with the canal in Central America, where he continued to thrive with his business and bring people onto his team and develop leaders and run his business from his laptop, even with a small internet connection. And we're going to get into that, how you can actually have a business and have a life tonight. So it's going to be exciting, and a couple of other big announcements as well. You know, for those of you who have been with us on the Extreme Team for a while, you know that we have incredible training, and I want to send a special shout out to our founding members of the Extreme Team, $1 Million earners, Tony and Jessica Rush from Dothan, Alabama. I know so many people on the broadcast, including me, have Tony and Jessica as their sponsors, so welcome. It's great to have you guys here. And of course, we've got John Lavinia, a friend and a mentor of mine for years. He's in Utah now. I have to think about where John and Shannon are as well. John and his beautiful wife Shannon. And, of course, Mark Cosio, who's a founding member of the Extreme Team as well, who will be back with us, I think, next week. He's watching the broadcast. Welcome, Mark and Rhonda. And we've got Lisa Kidder, who had a kick-ass Wake Up to Your Success call today. And, of course, you guys hear Lisa every Wednesday on the Wake Up to Your Success call. While mentioning that, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, make sure you join us. Get the number from the person who invited you. That's a service that we provide every Monday through Thursday, a live question and answer call on the telephone, so you don't have to get all dressed up like we're here. Kristian and I are really dressed for this broadcast tonight, by the way. and of course, Kristian Hoenicke. Gosh, Sam Crowley is going to beat me for not mentioning him as well. Sam Crowley, a founding member of the Extreme Team as well, and every day is Saturday, and today's Wednesday, Sam, so I guess maybe I forgot a little bit. Sam had a brilliant broadcast Monday night with the Empower Network. You probably heard him, and he did some incredible training for us last Thursday as well. So what a panel we have to develop you personally. You, I'm talking about right now. If you're brand new, if you're a guest joining us tonight, those are just a few of the many leaders on the team who are here every single day to help build your team through broadcasts like this, through conference calls. So you can kind of just sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and cash the checks, put down the phone, and pick up the paycheck. So we're going to get into more of that about the incredible training here on the Extreme Team tonight, exclusive here in the Empower Network. But now I want to bring out my partner in crime here tonight, a guy who I've really started to introduce him a little bit on the email, if you got the email today, but I want to hear his story, and I know you guys do as well. Kristian Hoenicke, come on out here, my friend. What is on your mind tonight, by the way? How does it feel to be back home after all this traveling?
It is, man, I was torn. I was really torn leaving Panama. It was so amazing. Totally life-changing experience for my family and I. We had some internet struggles just about every day. So it's nice to be back and have good internet, that's for sure.
Hey, message here, Kristian, that you're not on the broadcast. I just want to confirm that we can see Kristian. Let's see.
Yeah.
Somebody type in the chat box and make sure you can see both of us there. Hopefully you guys can see both of us. Yes, yes? The chat box tends to be about 5 seconds behind or so. So we'll see that here in just a second. Apologize for this, folks. Okay, well, we'll just keep on going here. So, Kristian, okay. let's talk about in detail tonight about what's been going on in your business, what's been going on since you got started, kind of tell us a little bit about your story, how you got started, and how you quickly rose to become a leader here on the Extreme Team, a team of leaders, and you came right up the ranks, my man. So take us back to what you saw. Maybe you were watching one of these broadcasts. I don't even know your story of how you found us or how you got started with Tony.
Yeah, I would love to start there. So last fall, we were living in Austin, and I had a business that had been in the process of falling apart over a period of 6 months, and I had legal and IRS problems, and it was at the tail end of a few years of a lot of struggle for us, and I was just emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted. I was working 12, 14-hour days and really not making any money. Struggling to provide value in the community and monetize it. And I was on Facebook, which I heard, this is 10 months ago now. I'm pretty sure the only reason I even had a Facebook account is because my wife set it up for me. So I was on there poking around, and I actually, what caught my eye was pictures of a beautiful beach, iguanas. It turned out to be Tony Rush, who I didn't know at the time. I don't know how we even ended up connected on Facebook, but I saw pictures of some amazing looking vacation, I guess, and as I started clicking on links and looking around, I saw Empower. That was the first time I saw Empower. Actually, that was about 4 months prior to September. That's when I started seeing stuff on Empower, and I kind of kept tabs on it. I was watching it, but I was so unfamiliar with the internet. I just didn't know which end was up. I think I was afraid to pull the trigger on a new project at that time, but by September, I had no choice. I had to do something. Our finances were going down the toilet fast. The business was clearly gone. So I ended up back on Facebook looking at Tony's stuff on his Facebook wall, and that's actually the day that I watched the commission loophole video that Empower puts out, and I loved it. I ate it up. I was ready. Within, I don't know, a couple 3 hours, I had an all-in mentality. I knew I was going to succeed, and I was in fact all in. So that's our start. I lurked for 3 or 4 months before I finally pulled the trigger, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, we're glad you did too. You provided a lot of value to the team and to a lot of people on the team, and a proof right there. Everybody watching, Facebook is a great place to really just see show off who you are. And the same thing for me. I watched Tony, my sponsor. We have the same sponsor. I watched Tony for about 3-4 months, the same thing. I don't recommend you have to watch 3 to 4 months, but if you do, then it's important to be, in front of your business on a daily basis. And not too many people more than Tony and Jessica celebrate their successes and are engaging, and you just kind of find yourself falling into the hole saying, I've got to get started, right? Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I should have started sooner. I'm not happy that I delayed, but better late than never.
No, the second best time to get started is right now. The first best time was the first time you saw it. So, yeah. And by the way, just, if you're having trouble telling us apart because Kristian's got a black shirt on, I've got a black shirt on, and, we probably should have planned this a little bit better. I apologize for that, guys. So
I should have worn a hat or something.
You got started with Empower Network, and you plugged and played. Did you kind of sit around for 3 months and just watch everybody, or did you just jump in and follow directions? How did you do your first couple of months?
No, I was definitely ready to take action. I was, the place I was in at that time in my life, I was hungry and very ready to learn, very ready to listen. Matter of fact, my mentality was, please tell me exactly what to do. Just tell me what to do, and I will do it. And that really served me well, as it turns out, because the training, as I rave about all the time, the Empower Network products are step-by-step, ABC, 1, 2, 3, you can't go wrong. I've told some of my family and friends, as it's come up in conversation when they noticed that we left the country for a month, some of them started really wondering what in the world we were up to. And I've told friends and family that I haven't colored outside the lines. And what I mean by that is I haven't had to become real creative or I'm certainly no genius or anything like that. I didn't really bring. But here's what I brought. I brought work ethic, diligence and consistency, and a teachable spirit. I was ready to learn. That's what I brought.
That's awesome. So you didn't resist when Tony was giving you directions? Well, actually, Tony doesn't really give directions. Everything's on between the Extreme Team Facebook site and the team website and just those 8 fast start steps. So if I'm hearing you right, you were like me. You just said, hey, let's just do this. I'm obviously not getting results doing it my way. Let's follow the results of some people actually having results, and let's get some results for ourselves. So obviously you saw the same thing we did.
Yeah, for sure. I was really happy to see. It was obvious as soon as I set up my blogging platform with Empower, and I started looking around. I was watching the Inner Circle video, I think, and I was amazed by the structure and how well put together the process and the flow of everything was. I had never seen anything like it, and not that I've spent a lot of time online. I've never, prior to Empower Network, I've not made money on the internet. My businesses and stuff have all been offline. Any of my experience is offline. So I was a newbie and ready to soak things up. I had to look things up like a lot of really lame stuff. Like I didn't know how to cut and paste. That kind of stuff. I had to go to YouTube and figure some of that stuff out.
That's great.
To start to do this.
So yeah. There's a key tip right there. I know we have a lot of new people online. If you don't know the answer, I tell my kids this all the time, but we're adults and the internet wasn't around when we were kids. Just go look it up, type it into YouTube, type it into Google, and find the answer. And sometimes you get a different answer than maybe you desire, but if you keep persisting, if you take responsibility, then you'll have the result. So way to go, Kristian. So just following the directions here is what I'm hearing. And that's a rare thing. I want to mention this real quick. We have an income disclosure, by the way. We're going to talk about incomes the next couple of minutes. And if you're watching us wondering, are these average results that Kevin had going from 0 to 250 in a year and Kristian from 0 to 200 in 10 months? No, they're not average results. Now, if you want to have average results, then go to empowernetwork.com/income.php and you can see the average disclosure from 150,000 affiliates around the world. Now, I'll say this. I looked at those average affiliates when I started, Kristian. I don't know if you did. But I decided, you know what, I'm going for that 1% because if I follow the directions, I'll just be in that category up there. It's kind of like anything else. If you follow the directions, eventually you get the result. You stick around. And maybe you saw the same thing.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. And I've compared this to anything else in life. I mean, for anybody listening, think about any time in life when you've really chased something. You really went after it. You dug in, you learned, you applied. Whatever it was, it could have been learning how to ride a bike. It doesn't matter, but think about a time when you really brought it, and that's the attitude I brought here, and I bring every day, and it's not complicated. Just you just gotta really dig in and take it seriously and bring it.
Bring it. My 12-year-old Tanner has a T-shirt that says "Bring it." I don't know if he's wearing it today, but. Are you really wearing that shirt today, Tanner? Bring it. That's what we're talking about in the broadcast. See, right here. There it is. There's Tanner Connect, everybody.
Yeah.
Bring it. Thank you, Kristian. You couldn't have set that up any better. Thank you for that.
That's funny.
Having your kids around the business. Now, I know you. How old are your kids, Kristian? You've got 2 boys, right?
Yep. Cole is 8 and Carter is 5 years old.
Now, how's it been for them to see Dad at home for the last 10 months? Have they realized that you're doing something different than what you were doing before?
Initially, they were really confused. My 5-year-old's pretty oblivious, but the 8-year-old has picked up on things. And matter of fact, he uploaded his first YouTube video yesterday, I believe.
Really?
He is very eager to start monetizing the internet.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this. You've had 2, and I don't see what you're posting on Facebook every day. We have a huge team, and we're kind of like, how are we in the family tree here? We're like brothers. Our father is Tony Rush, right? We're both enrolled by him. So I don't see everything you post on there, but I've kind of gotten the idea. You and your family have hit 2 huge goals in your first 10 months. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Am I right? You've hit 2 big ones, right? The first one I think I know about.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
This
that.
this has been this has been much bigger than I initially anticipated. When I first started, my thinking was, believe it or not, I really didn't want to interact with a lot of people. I wasn't eager to plug into a team or anything like that. I think I was so beat up and so tired. I just wanted to, learn how to do something online and do that in the background and just not talk about it, So when January rolled around and Empower was about to have one of their really big, awesome events right in my backyard at that point, I literally lived 20 minutes from the Austin Convention Center where the event was held that month. Much bigger than I'm getting an echo. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I told Kristen, we're not going to that event. I just want to make
really
money.
Tell her that?
Wow. I just want to. Yeah. I didn't want to go. The truth is, I had no idea what I was saying no to. And at the last minute, we decided to go. And boy, am I glad we did, because Empower got so big for me at that point. And even though we had been making money online, just doing the basic stuff, the event, I don't know how to put it into words. It took everything up, a whole bunch of notches, and a livable income, which I was making part-time. And I have never experienced this in my life, ever. I have never worked so little. Honestly, even if my number was $50K, if I had just made $50K in 10 months with as little as, time as I've invested in this, I'd be doing cartwheels. So the fact that it's 4 times that, it's surreal most days. I think we had a $2,600 day 2 days ago and like a $1,000 day yesterday online, and it's still, I'm not used to that still.
Yeah.
But so you asked a question, and I keep kind of sort of starting to answer your questions. So hitting the Austin event helped me see Empower a whole different way and come back and apply some things that I learned and take my game to a whole new level. Coming out of that event, we set some goals, and my wife and I hadn't ever, it sounds crazy, we've been married 14 years, and we had never sat down and had a serious conversation about what we wanted to accomplish, where we wanted to go, when we wanted to be there by, how it was going to look, all those details. And we started, we actually were reading Psycho-Cybernetics, and just participating and engaging in what's taught here, and really digging in. And as we started setting goals, the income went crazy, and within 3 months of that Austin event, we were able to make a really big move. I feel like if I walked around with the computer, I got wires coming everywhere, so I'm not going to do it, but if I walked around, I feel like we live at a resort.
That's awesome.
So we live out in the country. Oh man, it's heaven. Every day is just heaven. And then on top of that, so then by June 12th, we were running around town somewhere, and I had been wanting to go to Panama, the country, for a long time. I've read about it. I have friends that have spent time there and raved about it. But it's a big trip. That's not a cheap trip to do. Certainly not a cheap trip to do really well. To do it really nice. It's not cheap at all. So I've really been wanting to do that, and by probably April, we had wiped out all of our debts. Let me turn my phone off here. And the income just kept coming, and I don't think I've ever had a time in my life where all the bills got paid. I mean, credit cards got completely paid off. I had big balances too. We were a mess. But all that stuff got paid off, and even after all that, the money just kept piling up. The Empower transfer, I get it every Tuesday or Wednesday. It hits the account, and it was getting nuts. So anyway, by June 12th, we were in the car, and I was looking at checking my numbers, and I saw that we had a huge number in our checking account, and I just said, babe, let's go to Panama. Like a week from right now. Let's go. Let's just do it. So she said, long story short, she said, okay. So I dropped them off. Now get this, we didn't have passports. We didn't have anything in the way of proper travel gear, like, nice luggage and stuff like that. We've never traveled, so we didn't have any of that stuff. So dropped them off, and while I'm in the parking lot from my phone, I got airfare, round-trip airfare for 4. Anyway, by the end of that day, we spent a little over $7,000 starting to get ready for this big trip. And it was so cool to be able to do that and not worry about money, not think about, well, maybe if I wait to shop tomorrow, I can get a better deal. We're not generally wasteful. I don't want to give the wrong impression, but this is a big, big thing for us, and I wanted to nail it and do it right, and jump on it while we had a hole in the a big hole in our summer schedule. So we took off, and it was really interesting how this came together. We left a week later, and I had such a hard time getting online. This is coming from a guy that I've built Empower, and I've built my business, like 30 to 60 minutes at a time, whenever I can get in front of the computer and do stuff, be connected. And in Panama, it's a third world country. Good luck getting internet, period, let alone getting good internet, So some places we had good internet, but a lot of the time I literally could not work. So I'd wake up, we would all wake up, and I couldn't do anything. We couldn't do anything at all. So we just goofed off. We had a lot of fun. We took hundreds and hundreds, maybe over 1,000 pictures, probably something around 100 separate video clips of, all the fun, great stuff we got to do. Anyway, about 2 weeks in, maybe 3 weeks, my wife and I were talking over breakfast, and I think because we went from talking about our Empower income and the business basically daily, every day, for months on end, to disappearing out of the country, not working, not talking about income, because I couldn't even log in to see what we were making. I had no access to anything. So anyway, I was able to log in at that point. I logged in, and it was like it was noon or something, and we had made almost $3,000 that day, and I had no idea.
Wow.
And anyway, just the whole experience has been so amazing, and what I would say to people that maybe are seeing this for the first time or hearing about all this kind of stuff for the first time, maybe you've kind of dinked around on the internet. I'm guilty of that. I've tried in the past. I spent money here and there on a course or a product here and there, but I have never been able to make, put it together and make it work. And I think part of the problem was I had to figure a lot of stuff out. And what's so great about Empower is you don't have to do that. Buy the information product that Kevin and I got, the same thing. You'll have the same training, and then just jump in. ABC 1, 2, 3. Just do as instructed. Anyway, you want to say anything, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just in awe. I'm so humbled by how average guys like you and me, who are really not doing that well financially, can come in here and work a business very part-time, reconnect with our families, and live wherever we'd like. You live for a month in Panama. I took Melissa and the kids to Florida for 3 weeks in June, and our business kept right on going right on schedule. We hit Disney World, we hit the beaches in 3 different parts of Florida, went to a wedding or 2, and yeah, I can't even imagine, because like, I know there are people watching now who may still think, well, this is like is that like Amway, where like you're at meetings and you're doing this stuff all the time? And gosh, I did that for years. I was on the phone for 6 to 8 hours a day, calling hundreds of people a day to get 3 to 5 who would return a call, and maybe one person would go to the presentation. And here, none of that stuff happens. which is awesome because, of course, we can spend the time getting better at our craft. You're studying, I'm studying. I didn't know internet marketing. I saw our friend John Lavinia put in the chat earlier while you were talking, man, I thought I was a newbie. Look at Kristian over here. And by the way, I said something earlier. Some people may have thought I meant only 1% of people make money in Empower Network. That's not by any stretch. Go look at the income disclosure. You definitely want to be in the top 1% who are, big earners. Yeah, let's do that. But it's a choice when you start here. You choose. There's not any lottery where you take a number, and if you're number 7, you're the 7th best earner or the 95th. No, you decide. And here's a platform where you can go from, Kristian said earlier that things were really a mess, like you were upside down with your credit cards, and me too. In fact, we filed a personal bankruptcy. You can go from every master was once a disaster. And the learning curve here can be very short, which is awesome. So I know there are people watching right now saying, well, what about me? I don't even have $25, Kevin. And I would say go find $25 and click the Add to Cart button or click the Register Now button, that yellow button below, and let's just focus on the solution rather than the problem. Kristian, you get these little emails from people every once in a while that that responding to your emails. They come up with the craziest things. I had a guy today. I got to tell you this. This is funny. He says, "Well, Kevin, if you give me $2,500 to start, I'll give you $10,000 in 30 days." And I was just curious because I thought, who is this guy? So I actually looked him up in my Gmail. And you know what? 4 months ago, he was still on my list, and he says, "Kevin, will you give me $100, and I'll give you like $1,000." Like he's obviously gotten worse by not starting. So proof that, hey, who's the little guy right there? Let's bring him on here. Who's that?
This is my 8-year-old Cole. He didn't
Cole.
know we were doing
Hey, Cole, welcome to the broadcast. I hear you're on YouTube.
I told him you uploaded your first video.
Did?
Yep. You want to say hi? They can see you right here.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Was Panama fun? Yeah? He's a goofball.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have this when we were kids. This is so much fun. So, Cole, is it true your dad only works a couple of hours a day and he gets more time to play than he used to have? Does he have more? Are you spending more time with Dad now?
That's a bad question to ask him now because we've been traveling. So we did Panama, and then I went to Denver for a week, and then we went to California for a couple weeks. So I have good internet for the first time in basically 2 months. So I've actually worked some pretty long days catching up on stuff the last 3 days.
Yeah, I do that too. But you know what? It's cool because you can work around your schedule and get things done. Now, I don't want to imply to people watching the broadcast that we work 30 minutes a day and that's it. The actual work here, Vic Streishaus, one of the top earners in Empower Network, the top earner so far, actually had an event. He actually had a speech in Denver where he talked about you can really do this business and get results like him where you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in 3 to 4 hours a day. Now, if you don't know these skill sets, you're going to have to spend more time studying. But, I think about this all the time, Kristian. I mean, what if it took the person who's watching the broadcast now the next 5 years to get to a 6-figure income, or go back to the job where you have no chance to get a 6-figure income? Which would you choose? I mean, who would you choose there?
For sure. And with the job, you're chained to wherever you are. A lot of my friends, what I'm finding out, as we have total freedom and mobility, I don't have to ask permission, like you, just like you guys. We can do whatever we want. We wake up and do whatever we want. My friends and have a job and a boss to report to. You just don't have it's a totally different world. Also, what's interesting to me too, I think part of the reason guys like us are able to do so well online is we're leveraging the global economy. And if you think about this, when I had my business here in Austin last year, all of my revenue came from actually just a small part of Austin. I was completely dependent on just this little piece of my town for my entire livelihood. And with Empower, what you learn quickly is how to leverage the global economy. So when trillions of dollars are in play all over the world every day or every week, you guys having a $5,000 day, that's nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the big scheme of things, it's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the cool thing. When you come here, you start to associate with people who are having better results than you. And the great thing is that, it's kind of like a ladder. There's a hand up here in the Power Network.
Yeah.
And hey, a couple of things I forgot to mention at the top of the call. If you're part of the Extreme Team, did we mention this, Kristian, that the tickets are now open again for our next event? We're actually having an Extreme Team event in Nashville, Tennessee, September 6th, 7th, and 8th. So if you want to meet Kristian, over there, and really pick his brain and see what makes him tick and find out how he made a multiple six-figure income in less than a year, his first year, then you want to go to extremeteamevents.com, and I believe there are still some tickets there. We have 60 left. We've already sold about 300, and we got a bigger room, so we secured a little bit more room. So go get your tickets. They're going to go fast, and then make sure that you get your hotel taken care of and mastermind. With people like Tony Rush, Tony Rush makes more in a month now than I think I made in my life before I was 30, which is awesome. And the same for him. He wasn't exactly made of money either before he came to a Power Network, as you've seen some videos of him lately. And here's the cool thing. When you get started with the team, by the way, here's something you'll receive in PDF form. This is really cool. Written by Tony, actually. Get the results you want starting now. And, if you're at the event in Denver, we'll probably have some of these in Nashville as well. But it's kind of cool to have the guide here. And one thing I wanted to point out here real quick. Oh, I lost the page now. I shouldn't do this on the broadcast. So, but, just real quick bits here each day to help you build your business. And, this is going to help you. This is something exclusive to the team. So you'll pick that up when you become a member of the team. So click the button. Let's get started. And now let's get back to the conversation. Now we got taking care of the business. That was our commercial break, I guess. So
I've got a thought on Nashville, real quick.
Sure.
Something that I failed to point out when we heard. So we left the Austin event really ready to dig in really seriously, and when we heard that there was an Extreme Team event, it might have been the first one, the one in Atlanta.
Yeah.
That was the first one. So tickets became available, and I knew we had decided to go before the tickets were announced, and I was watching the Facebook group because I figured they would probably sell out, in a few days or something. And we got our tickets. And I started getting messages from people in my team within like 10 minutes saying, it looks like they're sold out. And I was thinking, wait, it just got posted. So two things. If you're here and you're serious about building a bigger income, something beyond a hobby, you got to come to Nashville. You really got to come to Nashville. Take it from a guy who didn't want to do events, didn't want to go, wasn't going to go. If I had not gone, I don't know what. I can't go there, I guess, because our income more than tripled after the Austin event. And when we went to the Extreme Team event and got to network with people like Kevin and Melissa, I was working on being an up-and-comer at that point. We were early, and I think this was February, early in our career here, I guess. And I was so excited to meet you guys, Sam Crowley and Tony Rush and, the whole crew. So there's only going to be a few hundred of us, 350, 360 of us in Nashville compared to the big Empower events, which are amazing, by the way. Do those too. The crowd is 10 or 20 times bigger. So it's a great chance to come mastermind with people, meet people and get really up close and personal, private training. Really, really good stuff. So anyway, don't miss it. You'll regret it if you miss it.
Over-the-shoulder training. Bring your laptop. We're going to open up our playbooks and see how we do our little scheming on the internet all day and how to get all that stuff done. And it's amazing how all it takes is one little thing to have a breakthrough. I know I've had that in my past, meeting people over the years, and if you take on one event, it could be a six-figure decision. No, six-figure aha moment, idea, something like that.
Yep, for sure. I had one other thought. I'm gonna try to remember this. Actually, this is bugging me. Is that backwards?
No, that's you posted your name correctly there.
That's right. Okay.
Well done.
I don't know how to get it green, but we can figure that out next time. So for people that may be listening and have let me try to think here. Questions about what we do, what value do we really bring to the marketplace? That was a question I wanted to touch on, or something I wanted to touch on earlier, because one of my initial, it might have been my very first filter that I was, so I'm starting to see video information and, kind of the pitch for Empower, and because I had come from business, I wanted to, I guess naturally processed it from the standpoint of a business. So what is here? What's being sold? What am I being told I need to buy? And what's the price point? What's the product about? Is there room in the market? Is there demand in the marketplace for this? So I did a little research, and it may be interesting to people who haven't been exposed to this before, or maybe haven't looked into it much before. But I'll give you the quick rundown. The product it's an information. It's a digital product. So this is available globally instantly. If you choose to buy, so let me change that. When you choose to buy, you have it right away. You don't have to wait. So that's great. And it basically will teach you how to blog and make money blogging, make money doing internet marketing globally. You'll be set up with everything you need. So even if you're not techie and you haven't done stuff on the internet before, like me and a lot of the other people here, it doesn't matter. You don't need to build websites. You don't need to do anything like that. You plug in and you do what you're taught. So I was looking at the price point, $25. We were talking about this earlier, Kevin. It's not $25,000 or it's $25. It's what is it, lunch? Not even lunch. It's $25. So the price point to me seemed like a no-brainer. That's something anybody can handle. So then we needed to figure out demand, and I had to get help from a friend on how to do this, because I didn't know how to go into Google and look at analytics or whatever it's called, where you can find out how many people search for stuff. That's how good I still am. But he looked up phrases for me like make money online, make money from home, make money blogging, part-time work from home, a bunch of phrases that made sense for a product like this. And we quickly figured out that there were over 2 million searches per day just in Google, globally, keep in mind, for what we have. So I'm thinking, as I'm hearing this, that's when the buying decision was made in my mind. I went, okay, total no-brainer. Millions of people want this, need this. They need that. They're just like me. They need training. They need, they need the step-by-step guidance on how to plug in and how to properly leverage the internet, how to bring value to a marketplace that is desperately searching for it globally. So anyway, from a business perspective, what I'm trying to say here is the bottom line from my business background is that this was a total no-brainer, an exciting market to get into.
Yeah, and especially, we're kind of just getting started. Think about this Empower Network's about 20 months old now, maybe 21 months, started October 31st, 2011. I don't think Dave and Dave, the co-owners, David Wood and David Sharp, would ever in their wildest dreams back 2 years ago would imagine that over 150,000 people and over $60 million of product would have moved through these websites that are really been tested at times. Anybody who's been around Empower Network knows. And so we've experienced some growing pains with the platform and everything else. So, what's really cool is that 2.0 is on the way. We're less than 60 days, September 23rd-ish. We're going to have a brand new Empower Network coming. And so now is the time to really position yourself. Now is the time to really become a professional of these products and to master the education here. So when that launch hits, we can strike. And the iron's really white hot right now. So as I'm mentioning this, number one, get your ticket to the Extreme Team event and join Kristian and all the other leaders up in Nashville, September 6, 7, 8. That's going to be the perfect place to get ready for this launch. And then we've got 4 events coming up in October where you can be regionally a part of Empower Network, whether you're going to be in Anaheim or in Dallas or in Washington, D.C., or down in Orlando throughout October. Those details are in your Empower Network back office. But guys, when you get around people who are on purpose, people who will take a stand for your greatness once and for all. Kristian, I'm interested in hearing, because you're relatively new. Like, I've been a network marketer for a while, so most of my friends are already used to me being a screwball in that case as far as working from home. But what's it been like for you in the past year? Do you have like old buddies from high school or college or coworkers who are like, who are really like turning their heads now, like, what's this guy doing? He continues to make money. Has any of that popped up for you on your Facebook page or in private chats?
I've had a little bit of it, but I have some experience like you probably. I don't know your background in detail either, but when I was 18, I was introduced to MLM, multi-level marketing, for the first time, and I was taken immediately. I loved the idea. I loved the idea of being rewarded in proportion to my results. Where I didn't have to ask somebody for a raise, or I didn't have to play the politics game. I could just work hard, produce, and get paid. So it immediately attracted me, and I launched in, and I had a really good first week in MLM. So good that I went to my boss the next week and said, this is costing me money. I can't keep coming to work. So I had a knack for recruiting, as it turns out, and I spent years, probably 10 years, 12 years, recruiting and trying to build teams. I was good at recruiting, and that was it. I never had what you guys, I'm new to the leadership here, but what you guys have put together, the original founding Extreme Team members, and Dave and the Empower leadership. Holy cow! I've never seen anything like this. I've never been a part of anything like this. The culture is amazing. It's the best I've ever seen. It really empowers people. And what I experienced in MLM, and maybe you did too, was a lot of this enabling and whining and misery. I ran into a lot of that, and it drove me out. So 5 or 6 years ago, went out of MLM and went into mainstream business. So some of my newer friends from the last 4 or 5 years initially thought I lost my mind and gave me a hard time about it the first few months. First time I said anything about it on Facebook, I had a few guys really after me, like, "Oh man, you're really going down a bad path here." And what's funny is, as of now, all but one of my original critics are here with us in the Extreme Team.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and the other one, the only one that's left, is threatening to jump on board here and get going.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, isn't that the most gratifying thing when you can see people that you know and love, and they just see you continuing to get better and get, having more family time, becoming a better dad, becoming a better businessman, becoming a better husband, and there's so many intangibles. Really, I've not seen it anywhere else in home business. And something like Empower Network, which is really personal development personified. So we can all get better and start to focus on that L word I've been speaking a lot about, and that word is legacy. Now that we're all in the digital age, now that we're all online, have you seen that, Kristian, have you seen that TV show, Ancestry, Who in the World Do You Think You Are? Do you know what I'm talking about, that show where they have Hollywood celebrities, and they go back and trace their past, and they kind of go to these archives? You ever seen that show?
Sounds interesting. I haven't seen it, no.
Yeah, I took in a couple episodes with Melissa in the last couple of weeks for the first time, and it's interesting because up until in the 20th century, your legacy was hard to keep track of. There just wasn't a lot of writing things down and keeping track, and I'm having trouble finding even past my grandparents, looking back at my family tree. But now, look at all of us. There's 1 billion people with a Facebook account who are posting the most mundane things in life. So here's a thought that I've said on my a couple of times now. What you post on your Facebook right now, think about this. 100 years from now, when your great-great-grandkids are looking you up online and seeing what are you doing, and all you have to talk about is that you've played the 10,000th game of Bejeweled or something like that on Facebook and you're the champ, but yet you're still in the same house that you were in 45 years ago, and you're driving the same car as 10 years ago, what kind of legacy is that? You know, these are the things that we get to think about as a team when we have the bills paid for. Like Kristian said earlier in the broadcast, like his bills are paid for now. He's got money coming in automated. Kristian, I'm a little embarrassed to say I'm 43 years old, and I just completed a 12-month cycle, Melissa and I, where we put all of our bills on auto pay, and for the first time, we didn't have to worry about paying our bills in our adult life. Even though we made six figures in other businesses, it was always staggered. Like we'd have a $25,000 month, and then a $4,000 month. You know, like and we'd have to kind of juggle our bills almost every month. And this past year, since we got going with Empower Network, we had a $20,000 month in our fourth month, and we haven't been below that since then. It's been absolutely incredible.
The whole bill juggling thing. I don't think I'm probably the only other person on the broadcast that knows what that feels like tonight. It doesn't feel good, and you know, juggling and being late and figuring out things like when we used to pay bills by mail in the old days. I don't know, 10 years ago. I figured out that if you staple, they tell you not to staple the check to the stub, but I figured out that if you staple it, it has to be manually processed when they receive it, so it buys me an extra few days.
Isn't that crazy?
What a miserable
game!
What a miserable game to have to play. And well, I didn't have to play it. I just didn't realize it at the time. And I'm so happy to be here and be empowered. And that's something I'm not as accustomed to talking about it yet. I've experienced it personally. I've been empowered. I'm empowered every day. And I'm eager to pass that on and help to empower others. But that has been a natural process for us in Empower Network. We have improved personally. You know, better husband, better wife, better mom, better dad, better community member. It's been measurable and in some areas really dramatic changes. You know, time freedom is something. You know, maybe people have a tendency to look at stuff. And in Panama, one of the things that we noticed, okay, I got to be careful because this could be a long tangent. Just stop me if you need to. Materialism, or just stuff. Forget about that. Just we have a lot of stuff. We have a lot of nice stuff now. And it was interesting to go to a third world country and spend time with locals. By the way, we didn't stay at any resorts. We stayed at one hotel the whole trip.
Wow.
Our desire was, and our plan was, to stay in small bed and breakfasts. We rented an SUV and drove all over the country. We spent a lot of time on the Pacific side and the Caribbean side. We hit a lot of beaches. We met a lot of people, and one of the things that really stood out to us, the part of the perspective to me that was really interesting that my wife and I came away with, we looked at each other at one point in the trip and went, we have a lot of stuff. And it was humbling to be around such happy people that had so little stuff. But you know what they had was time. They had time, and they had freedom to spend time with the people that they loved, and all their needs are met. And you know, I spent so many years chasing stuff, and like you, I have made decent money in the past here and there, but I wasted it, and you know, I was really naive and young and had a lot to learn. And anyway, it's interesting to me that if I needed to now, we could have a really, really great life on $6,000 or $7,000 a month, partially because it only takes an hour or two a day to make it. You know, and I can do that from anywhere. We can do that. You can go to Florida for 3 weeks, or Panama for a month, or wherever you want to go. Anyway, random thoughts.
I'm just in awe of what you just said. Did you guys get that? I mean, really, let's rewind that. If you're watching this on replay, press the pause button, go rewind 30 seconds, and catch what Kristian just said right there. I can make $6,000 to $7,000 working a couple of hours a day, from any point on the planet, and that's enough to support my family for the entire month. Wow. Now, that's not freedom. I don't know what freedom is. And to think for years and years, I mean, when we were younger, Kristian, we were taught in school, hey, go get a good job, work for the man for 40 years. and maybe get to retire. And hopefully your health is good enough to be able to retire then and have some money.
Right.
But now, you can retire. You can live retired the rest of your life. I mean, we live a retired lifestyle, my man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And, you know, I have a lot of people on my team who are joining who are in their 50s, 60s, and even 70s who maybe they don't have anything right now because they were told 40 years ago, hey, you do the right thing and you'd have the money, and now you don't. So for you guys, pay careful attention to what Kristian just said. Now, you may have to study a little harder over the next few months and really get up to speed, and that's okay. Give yourself some time. I was talking to a lady on my team earlier, and I think she was, you know, people make the mistake of comparing themselves to, well, look at Kristian, look at Kevin, you know, a couple of good-looking guys. I don't know if I can have as much success because I'm not as good-looking as them. So, well, that's, you know,
that's right.
Probably fair. So, but seriously, you know, each of us is so powerful if we will just tell our stories and get in front of people like Kristian has on Facebook, like Melissa and I have done on Facebook, like my friend Tony Rush has done on Facebook. He spends all day on Facebook because his business is done by 11 o'clock in the morning. He can just come up with these rants all day long. It's incredible. You know, make $130,000 a month by just playing on Facebook all day. It's awesome. You know, I wanted to go back to something else, Kristian. We were talking earlier about how creative, like you were creative enough to think about putting a staple in the check so you bought a few extra days. That creative mind, I mean, think about this. Think of the insanity. There was a time when Melissa and I actually figured out back in 1998, the first year we were together, we had two bank accounts with two different banks with two different ATMs, how to kind of float the money from one account to the other and buy ourselves an extra few $100s. I mean, if we're that creative to struggle to just barely survive, imagine how freeing it will be when you get rid of the nonsense in your life and you can free up the attention units back here right now when you're on the broadcast. Oh, I've got to pay this bill. Oh, the lights are going to go out in 7 days if I don't do this. All of that nonsense that we think is normal, it's not normal, folks. It's normal to be rich. It's normal to be thriving in the land of opportunity. Remember, it's still the land of opportunity unless you plug into a politician for too many hours in a row. It's the land of opportunity. So we can take the creativity of how to put the staple on the check and instead take that creativity and write a blog post that's going to attract a Kristian Hoenicke, that's going to attract a Kevin Connect to your team, who's going to create a multiple six-figure income. And oh, by the way, with the compensation plan, when that happens, you generate about 20% of that. Wouldn't you love to have a Kristian Hoenicke on your team right now? How about this, Kristian? Tony Rush is sitting back there laughing right now saying, look at these two bozos. These guys are building my business while I'm sitting back and probably smoking a cigar, taking a night off. Each of us we've made about $500,000 between the two of us, and Tony's made about 20% of that. Man, that's where I want to be. He's the smartest guy on the broadcast. He's not even here.
Absolutely. And, you know, you said something about blogging. Turn that creativity and into a blog post. I would be remiss in not really talking up the blog. The blog has been a foundational part of our business. It is the $25 product that Empower has. It's a monetizable blogging platform that you can take and run with tonight. You know, right now, you can have your first blog post up before you go to bed, easy. We had never blogged before. I didn't really even know what a blog was. I had heard the term, but I don't think I'd even ever looked at one, actually. But when we dove in and started blogging, it took, I want to say something like 6 weeks just on the blog to start to see some action coming from the blog. We were doing other marketing because, you know, the 8 core steps, the basics, instruct you and train you on what else to do in addition to blogging. So we were doing other things, but the blog has probably brought us now something like $40,000 worth of income in the last 10 months. And it's part of the most exciting part of our income because it's a surprise. You know, we blog and stuff happens. We get really interesting people that come through the blog. Some of them are probably on here, and thank you. It's fun to work with you.
Wow, $40,000 in 10 months by just telling your story, by saying what's on your mind. How to get disciplined to write it down.
Oh, yeah, and while we did from Panama, you know, for people out there that may be saying, well, I don't even know what I would talk about, it almost doesn't matter what you talk about. We talked about anybody that went and looked at our blog would see that we've posted what we had for breakfast with pictures. You know, we posted little day trips, stuff we were doing around town. Because I figured, I live in Austin and I take Austin for granted. Maybe there are people all over the world that maybe want to visit Austin, have never been to Austin. So something as simple as taking the camera with us when we leave in the morning, even if we're just going to, a place for lunch that we've been to a million times, it's no big deal for us. To do a little write-up on the restaurant that we had lunch at with a couple pictures and some commentary on Austin and what it's like, you're putting value out there in the marketplace, and you do that consistently as you're taught within the training, and it works, and it's fun. And you get extra tax write-offs, too.
Tax write-offs, exactly. You know what? There's a book right here on my desk that I was reading earlier this afternoon. I don't know if this is necessarily the book, but Home Business Tax Savings. You know what? There are so many ways to make money, guys. You just have to get around people who are having the results and mastermind. And again, one more time, if you come to meet us in Nashville, we can have these conversations on how to turn your annual income into a monthly income. And by the way, individual results may vary. If you're a weenie and you don't follow directions, you won't have those results. But if you're like Kristian Hoenicke right over there and do follow the directions, then yeah, you'll have the results. So
Kevin, I learned something interesting early on from one of you guys. It was you or it might have been Tony that was talking about your financial thermostat, your quote unquote.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it in those terms, but as I started thinking about my past, I realized that my thermostat was set to $5,250 a month, give or take $100. And no matter what I did, that's about where I, peaked most of the time. There were some anomalies here and there, but it never lasted. I would come right back down to survival, for us. And getting to hang out with guys like you and your wife Melissa and Tony and Jessica Rush. I'm getting in trouble now. I'm starting to mention names. There's a lot of the guys like me, I think, that are up and coming in the team, people that have made $20, $30, $40, $50,000 or almost pushing $100,000 in our team. I want to name some names, but I know I'll leave people out, so I'm not going to do that. But getting to hang out and collaborate and brainstorm and spend time with these people has helped me raise our own financial thermostat, and it's normal now. $20-ish thousand a month is normal, and we actually are just been digging back through our own goals and plans, and we're reestablishing new targets. I honestly got kind of lazy. We hit some really big goals this year, got really comfortable, took a big long break, basically 2 months, almost completely off, and but we're back now, ready to get to work. The new number is a little over $41,000 a month. That's the average we need to maintain through the end of the year to accomplish our set of goals through Christmas. But getting to hang out with you guys, I've heard also something like whoever you associate with, the 5 closest friends you keep, your income generally will reflect their incomes. So thank you for letting me hang out with you tonight.
Yeah, likewise. Hanging out with you increases my income as well. I picked up some ideas I had not considered, and this is awesome. Hey, there's one thing you said. Isn't it fun? I did the same thing actually. When Melissa and I got started, this was March of last year. Our butts were up against the wall. We had no money, and we had to work to really get going because we had no money for advertising. We were putting everything to pay some bills. We were 3 months behind and everything. But we worked so hard to get off the mat. But that, I thought about, well, what else would I do? Of course, you have an opportunity. But yeah, we hit some first goals as well, Kristian. And I want to close with this thought, and then we'll wrap up the broadcast. Every 90 days, it seems like we have another opportunity to set some big goals. And one thing that's really great about Empower Network is that we have events every 90 days, so you can really run from event to event, set a goal, hit it, celebrate, get a check, like one of these checks, and Kristian, you're going to have a check at the next event, and then come home and set a bigger goal. And isn't that awesome that these guys, Dave and Tony and Jessica and the other leaders have thought of this for us. So the up-and-comers, I'm an up-and-comer too, by the way, and because I don't have the ring, the finger is not ready for. Well, it is ready for the ring, and let's see if I open up my phone here. Is it right there? No, I can't do it right here on the broadcast. Forget it, guys. You get a $1 million ring for getting $1 million, man. Do you want that ring, Kristian? When you saw Tony with that ring, were you just like, when am I getting mine?
My name on it. I'm gonna pick it up pretty soon.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. So, and we kind of got a little easy in this early in the summer because we did take that 3 weeks. It's kind of like a reward. That was a big reward for our family to do the Disney trip and all of that. We didn't have the money for several years. It was kind of embarrassing having Tanner getting older saying, hey, we ever going to do something besides stay at home? So, he's getting older. He knows the score. When mom and dad screwed up financially, he knew the score. And parents watching right now, the best thing you can do is to be authentic in front of your kids and grandkids and let them know the score. If you're down right now, let them know. Let them help you out. Let them, set a 90-day goal with the family. Hey, if we do X, Y, and Z, we get the trip to Disney, or we get to do this and that. I'll tell you what, the kids will help you. And one of my big secrets of success, Kristian, I know you've probably heard me say this before, is that when Melissa and I were brand new, I had Tanner looking at my whiteboard with me every day, and he would ask me, Dad, did you make a sale today? Dad, did you do this today? Every day, and what parent doesn't wants to? No, I didn't get to do that today. That was the best enthusiasm I could have, the best reason for me to really get going. So parents, I know there are a lot of parents watching on the broadcast tonight. Have an honest conversation with your family. If things aren't well, if you screwed up, own it. Because once you own it, man, you can release it and nobody can use it against you ever again. Dave Sharp talks about that. He was a drug user for years. He's 5 years sober now. Nobody can ever use that against him because he's owned it. And he's recovered. He's gotten his life back together. Sam Crowley talks about that. If you watch his broadcasts, Sam Crowley, a leader on the team here, talks about owning the past. And Sam was one of my big inspirations for walking through the financial disaster I created for myself, owning it, and then moving forward fast. And my friend Tony as well. He's gone through that as well, where he talked about that on stage last month in Denver about some things he wasn't so happy about himself with, but he took the responsibility and made it right. And I know there are people on the broadcast now. You may not feel powerful, but if you come into this community right now and surround yourself with this thought process on a daily basis, join us on our wake-up calls, plug into our team website, watch the videos, get inside our Inner Circle audios, and inundate yourself with the leaders who are having 6 and even 7-figure results. And like Kristian said, you are who you surround yourself with. So if you're like I was in 1997, surrounded by broke disc jockeys all the time and a bunch of people going nowhere, if you'll just plug in and create this virtual surrounding yourself with the right people right now, you'll create that for the next 90 days. And you'll get a chance to meet us face-to-face in September in Nashville. And then in October, somewhere in the United States, whether it's going to be Anaheim, Dallas, Washington, D.C., or Orlando, incredible opportunities. And we're here at the early part of August. Now we can put on our running shoes for the next 4 weeks and run all the way to Nashville and then make another leap for the following 4 weeks coming out of that and building what an income we can build for the second half of this year and finish 2013 and make it the best year ever. Are you up for that, Kristian? How about you, my friend?
Oh, yeah. That's the plan here for sure. Sounds good.
Any closing thoughts, my friend? We've talked a lot tonight, and I'd love to hear anything else that you want to add to the broadcast to put a bow on tonight.
Yeah, to cap it off, I would just really continue to strongly encourage the events. The events have pushed my buttons over and over and over again. I've been to several now, and my game keeps getting raised. My friends all around me continue to make more and more money and bring more and more value to the marketplace and more value to the team. So do what you got to do. Make that commitment. If you're not yet involved with the team, you're missing out. It's tons of fun. It's lucrative. It's all that stuff. Come here and don't plan to be average. Don't plan to be typical. Come here, engage. Do what Kevin was just talking about. You surround yourself with really great people and a really great culture, and you plug in for whatever you can. We know you're busy. Everybody's busy, but plug in here for 20, 30 minutes or an hour every day and be faithful. And you can nail this. You really can.
It's awesome. Hey, I'll leave you guys with this, man. You know what? Like no place else, Kristian, Empower Network has encouraged me personality is cool. I love this. This is my favorite picture here because it's got Tony's son right there, Easton, and my son Tanner right there. Personality is cool, guys. Be yourself. Be outrageous. Chances are most of your neighbors around you right now are probably not thinking too much. So you be the thought seeker or whatever it is. You go out there and you lead. You lead with your enthusiasm. You get a goal like Kristian had right there, and you get going in life. And we'll see you on one of these broadcasts here very soon over the next 90 days. You'll be leading the team, and Kristian and I will be sitting back smoking the cigars for a night, watching our bank accounts fill up while somebody else does the work. How about that, my friend?
That sounds really good. That's the plan.
This is hardly work. This is a lot of fun. So, hey, Kristian, I just want to thank you for this was fun. We'll have to do this again sometime. And next week we'll have a couple of other badass hosts out here. I'm not sure who will be here, but it'll be fun and worth coming back just for the entertainment right there. And, of course, get started with the team and join us on the Wake Up to Your Success call tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Can't wait to see you guys there. And that's all we have for tonight. Kevin and Kristian signing off. Love you guys. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye for now.
Good night.